A Kriegerei hat nur einmal ausgebrochen zwischen beide Gannekes, wenn Donker hat rausgezogen von Stub a klein silberen Leichterl. So an argument or a fight occurred only once between the two porches when Donker carried out of the house a small silver candlestick. Es ist gewinn an altmodisch Oberleichterl mit a schweren gegossenem Fuß und mit a Treibel wie a Pimperl, a reinzuschuppener Licht. It was an old-fashioned candlestick, granny candlestick, with a heavy poured foot and with a tube like a, couldn't find what a
I couldn't find either.
Yeah, so it's like a tube in which one could stick a candle. Victor der Waldzeuger hat das Leichterl teuer gehalten, als an Andenkung von sein verstorbener Weib. So Victor, the timber merchant, he loved this little candlestick because it reminded him of his dead wife. Glicke, Donkers Mama, Alea Hasholem, hat das benutzt in Schlafzimmer. So Glicke, Donkers mother, used this candlestick in her bedroom. Nu hat man sie bei Victorin in Stub gehabt und das Leichterl fällt. Ist geworden ein Tummel und ein Rasch. Himmel öffnen sich. So, when Victor discovered that the candlestick was missing, is geworden a tummel in a rash. All hell broke loose. Himmel öffnet sich. Sof kol sof is men mit Guten und mit Besen der Gangen bei Donken, als das Lichterl hat weggeschenkt Meischken. So eventually they found out, they established by hook or by crook from Donker that the candlestick was given by him to Meisheke. Ist man gleich weggelaufen zu Sterren mit Keules und mit Gewalten. So immediately they ran off to Sterre, shouting and und Gewalten, shouting and screaming. Ot schein auf ein Ort soll man abgeben das Leichterl. So immediately you need to give this candlestick back. Welche Leichterl? Was der Tachschit ihrer hat ausgenarrt bei Duncan. So which candlestick? It's the candlestick that your Tachshit, your kid, perhaps we can translate it as.
A piece of jewelry.
Your jewelry, yeah. Obtained by cheating from Danke. Meisheke hat ausgenarrt. Meisheke got it by cheating. Zerschippert sich stere wie ein Schlang. Mesheke, wo bist du? So Mesheke obtained by cheating, hissed stere like a snake. Mesheke, where are you? Nor Mesheke hat nicht angeheben zu warten, bis man wird ihm nehmen auf den Verheer. But Mesheke didn't wait around until they brought him to interrogate him. Wie nur hat der Herd wegen was es tumult sich in Kirch, hat gehabt und verworfen dem das Lachterl weit unter den alten Kommod. Und allein ist weg und hat sich behalten unter Steres Bett. Was denn? So as soon as Mesheke heard what all the fuss was about in the kitchen, he grabbed the candlestick and he flung it, he threw it underneath the old chest of drawers. And he himself went and hid himself under Steres bed. Wird sich losen, man soll bei ihm opnehmen sein Lachterl. Was he about to let them take away his candlestick? Mesheke, Mesheke, und Mesheke antwortet nicht. So they called him, but he didn't answer. Okay. Shall I carry on?
If you want.
I'm happy.
Okay, go ahead.
Als man hat ihm ertappt und rausgeschleppt bei die Fiesler, hat eingespart einmal für allemal. Hat nicht kein Lachterl. Hat man beide Kinder genommen, Eug auf Eug. So when they found him, when they discovered him and schlepped him out from under the bed by his feet, he became stubborn once and for all. He didn't know anything about a candlestick. And so they brought both children together facing one another. Gegeben ihm das Lachterl? Sag danke. Did you give him the candlestick? Tell us. Gegeben. Mesheke, wo ist das Lachterl? So, Mesheke, where is the candlestick? Mesheke sitzt und schweigt, ein Ungeblosener. So, Mesheke sat silently sulking. Mit scharfen Augen guckt nur an dem knickendicken Chaverl seinem, wie man guckt an a Mosser und redet kein Wort nicht. So he looked with very sharp eyes, angry eyes, at his whimpering little friend, as one looks at an informer, and he didn't say a word. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Nehama, you want to continue?
Thank you. Hat men genommen Tafel mit Kotscheres und Lopetes unter alle Betten und Almails. So they began to tap around with all kinds of sticks and shovels under all the beds and the cupboards. Lopete seien bei Kiva in Stub voran genug. Shovels are in Kiva's house, shovels are always plentiful. Stere hat Rogesdick gesucht. Stere looked in a very angry way. The Schreinem haben geholfen. The neighbors also helped. Hat men kodem kol gefunden dem beinernen Zibek von Wigdales Pipke. Und man hat sich übergeguckt. So the first thing that they found was they found this part from his pipe. Yeah, and they looked it over. Wie bald heißt das? Man hat da gefunden dem verlorenen Zibek, wird man schon mit Gottes Hilfe gefunden das leichtere euch. Well, now that we found this this part of the pipe, with God's help, certainly with God's help, we're also going to find the candlestick. Un kachove. Is that how you say that in Yiddish?
Kachove, I
see. And so it was. Gott hat Gives Schreinem geholfen. God helped the neighbors. And das verlorene Leichterl hat sich herausgekeikelt mit der Klung von unter alten Kommer. So with God's help, the lost candlestick rolled out with a cling, with a sound from under the old cupboard. Und Moscheke hat Eufenklung geöffnet mit a groß Geschrei. Geentfüllt. And Moscheke with a scream answered when he heard the cling. My lifestyle, my candle holder. Azoyes bestanden mit Keules auf seine Recht und geklappt mit der Fislach und Podgele. That's my light, my candlestick. And he stood with his voice, or he bestanden. What is that verb? He insisted with a loud voice. On his right, he stamped with his feet on the floor. In jenem Tag hat Kiva de Lechemacher zum ersten Mal abgestimmt sein.
Abgeschmissen.
Abgeschmissen sein Hodelnik mit dem Passig von der Häusern. And on that day, did Kiva, not the wife, but Kiva, the cake baker, for the first time, he beat his little bundle there with the belt from the pants. He beat him with the belt. And Vigdor's Mishpacha hat mit groß Triumph weggetragen das silberne Lechterl zurück heim. And Vigdor's family, with great triumph, they carried the silver candlestick. This is like the Romans taking from the temple, the silver candlestick.
Yeah.
Ihr weißt denn, was das wächst? You know what's growing here? Haben sie herausgelassen a Klang in ganz Javelek. You know what's growing here? They announced, they let out a cry on all of the alley of Javelek. In das a mamzer is das Wachs Ganef, Ot. In this mamzer is growing a thief.
Is a mamzer, idos vaxa ganev. It's just, I would say in English, not only is he a mamzer,
Right, you're right.
not only is he a mamzer, he also is growing up to be a thief.
Like size.
Also, he's growing up, he's growing a thief. He's developing to be a thief. Yeah. Just a second, Nechama, I want to say one thing about the Ganev. Let's remember this word for later.
The word Ganev?
Yeah, the Ganev. They already called him Mamzer. They already called him Schlepper, the children, the Cheder
children.
Yeah. And now a Ganev, and this word Ganev is very important for us to remember later what happens with the Ganev. Okay, go on if you want.
Von den Smol on hat 5-jährige Moscheke genommen bemerken, als die Grenze zwischen ihm und der Yosemol ist geworden strenger und bewachter. From that time on, the 5-year-old Moshika took notice that the border between him and Danka was becoming stronger, more wider, broader than and before. Als von Javelke hat sich die dosige Grenze weggezogen und schneit sich schon a Zind rein in alle Arumeker Gassen. And from Jalavik, from this alley, this division was stretched and divided in all of the surrounding streets. Nicht nur zu Donken losen im die gewachsene Melnitzu, not just to Danka did the older people not allow him to get close. Afilu andere Kinder, bei welche hat kein leichterer nicht genommen, losen ihm euch nicht zu. And even other children, where he hadn't had this incident, where he hadn't taken he hadn't really taken it, but where he hadn't been given or he hadn't accepted this candlestick, they would also not allow him to grow closer, to be close with them. Yinglef Mashal machen a Komedia in a Gebäude Sukkah auf the Schulgas. Children, for example, made a Komedia, I guess it was a kind of playhouse, in a sukkah, in a built sukkah. It's in a cabin or in a small little house on the Schulgas, und brechen sich dorten auf a Hoida, and they're on a swing there, und machen Koschlechkes, and they do somersaults, und nehmen a Kneppel für jeden Eintritt, and they take and they do somersaults, and they take a button, which was, I guess, a sort of a form of, was their Bitcoin, a form of money for every entry. Gerät Moscheke on das Schönste von seiner Knepplach in Hand. He prepared, little Moschke, the most beautiful Knepplach in his hand that he had. Norman lost him nicht rein, but they didn't let him in. Will geben zwei. der Comedy-Macher seien sich miyashiv. The ones who are making this little festival are thinking about it. Nor epis allemol is do einer was git a shushke, the zweiten Jingle, but there's always some other one who gives a little whisper to the second child, der zweite, dem dritten, und alle kemuren sich und treiben ihm be Compagnia. And they and there's a third one, there's a second one, there's a third one, and they drive him away. Geh, Moishke, geh. Geht weg, verweint verbitten. He goes away, a tearful one, a bitter one. Klopft sich verstelzen, and he cries for his mother. Zest, wischt im Stelze de bittere Tränen. She wipes his bitter tears. Das hast du sich als ungemacht mit dem Leichterl. You did this all to yourself with the candlesticks. Don't hat doch mir gegeben, Mama. He gave this to me. Nicht gedampft behalten. You didn't have to hide it. Moishke klockt und entfällt nicht. Moshke, he cries and he doesn't answer. Weiß, also die Erwachsenen sind nicht gerecht. He knows that the grown-ups are not correct. Das Neppel von Eigentum is like from
Eigentum. That's ownership.
Neppel is isn't that fog?
It's a gefühl.
The Gefühl, das Gefühl.
Because Gefühl, I think Gefühl, yeah, the feeling of possessing, owning.
Eigentum is what?
Eigentum, I see. Yeah, it's like mein eigene Sach. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Like ownership.
Ownership, yeah.
Of ownership.
Yeah.
Is by kinder, is by children very, very strong. Das, was mir hat ihm geschenkt, is doch geworden seins. That which somebody gave him became his. Hat gemeint behalten unteren Kommod und nicht wollen abgeben zurück. And it was right that he hid it under the bureau and didn't want to give it back. Nor hat euch dem nicht genug Werte, but he doesn't have enough words to express this. Weint und tracht. He cries and he thinks. Wischt sich das Nesel mit dem Armbel und tracht. He wipes his nose with his sleeve and he thinks. Very sad picture.
Wonderful. Now, we see his logic. I got a gift, and with the gift, I am allowed to do what I want. So, yeah, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
well, it's right.
It's right. It's right. That reminds me. One time they tried to teach us a little Gemara in Israel, so we studied Hagonev mi ganav patur. Even if you steal from a thief, you are exempt from punishment. Even if you take something from a thief, you are exempt because it was a stolen thing. This reminds me of so much more so when you got a gift. It doesn't belong to the giver any longer. And he is right. He is very smart. Yeah, and and he has the right feeling about it, but he cannot express it yet. So he's, not only is he very lively and energetic, but he is also very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
very cursed. Very cursed.
Okay. And now, meanwhile, he's getting more and more isolated from the surroundings, from the kids. Okay. Now, a Stein von Hals. Okay. A lange Zeit noch Reb Israel Chadak's Opfern mit der Boyd.
One moment, I lost the place.
Okay.
The mouse stopped working. Forgive me. Okay. Are we here?
Yeah,
Stein?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Entschuldigt mir, I'll quiet myself again.
Okay. So, a lange Zeit noch Reb Israel Chadak's Opfern mit dem Boyd hat sich noch Save der Milner gefühlt wie ausgeschmiert mit Jägecht und ausgekeitelt in Federn. Israel Chadaks was the Balegole that brought
Hanela.
brought Hanele with her
With the
baby. Yeah, right. Yeah. So for a long time, after the visit of that Rebbe Israel, Zave was feeling as if he is smeared with dirt. And
Excel grease.
Like with tar, you know how
Jagged
you say in English, you say with tar and feathers, like with something sticky,
Yeah,
sticky and feathers on top of it.
It's Excel grease.
Axle grease, beautiful.
Jagged is Excel grease.
You should only feel that way.
Ja, mit Unterwerfen das mit koschere Kind haben sich noch die Zores mit Hanele nicht geendigt. By throwing that non-kosher child again, the problems with Hanele haven't ended. Now, Kune Hanele's Mume und Getsche, der Toker, haben sie a viele zurück reingenommen in Stuhl und gemacht das Schweig. Her aunt, Kune, and her husband even took her back into the house and were quiet about it. All right, now, no, von Zeit zu Zeit fleckt noch Hanele allein reinhappen sich Stillerheit, zusammen in Mill oder in sein abgelosten Haus und vielleicht weinen noch ein Kind, was gefindt sich in fremde Hand und weinen auf ihr Masel. So from time to time, Hanele herself would come to visit quietly, come to visit Zave, either in his windmill place or in his neglected house, and she would cry over the child, who is now being held by strangers' hands, and she was crying about her bad luck. Verwos a Steger kommt aus ihr, als ihr Blut und Fleisch soll sich gefinnen bei wilde Fremde, Westdetnikes, und sie, a Mame, Tora viele nicht zugehen a Kukton. Why is it that she is the mother, why is it coming to her that, why does she deserve this? That her blood and flesh is being held by strangers, childless people, and she, a mother, is not even allowed to approach the child to take a look at him. Mit was ist sie Ärger von alle Schreinim in Monozons Zavulek? How is she worse than all the other neighbors in this neighborhood? Und geht erklären Verwos. Zave ihr verentfert die Kasche mit was nur hat gekonnt. Now she is asking Zave, why is she different than the others? Why doesn't she deserve to see a child? And Zave didn't have an answer for her. So he tried to answer this question with whatever it was that he was able to. And to me, it's very interesting, the way he answers her, the way he responds to this. Die erste Zeit ist der beste Teretz gewesen, a Glet zu tun mit der schwerer Lappe ibern Reuten Kutscherawe Keppel. In the beginning, the best excuse was just to give her, to caress her with his heavy hand over her red curly hair. And hugging her, and oh, I didn't read the Yiddish yet. Und herumnehmen und ein Kitzelton in Hals mit der Wecherbord. Es soll Chanele der Monen und der heißer Minut in Pelzmark-Kamera.
What?
See, a Kitzelton here. I got to hear. Okay. So what he would do is he would caress her, he would hug her and tickle her in the throat. With his soft beard. So as Olchanel in the morning on the heißer Minut in Pelzkamerun. So it should remind Hanele of the hot moment that they had in their fair room.
This is supposed to make her feel better?
I think that it's more than, let me just.
I don't understand. I mean,
Okay, what I read here between the lines is that it did not end only with tickling and caressing.
well, that's intimate. Yeah, that's hinted
Yeah,
at.
I think that she still loves him. She's attracted to him,
Yeah.
and she comes. I think that she comes for that too. Oh, all right, let me just read this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
She
that's
comes and yeah. So what do you think was happening there? She went
no,
away.
it's clear what's happening there, but
Yeah.
yeah, right. But I think you're right. That's
He doesn't
he's
say.
still there. The attraction is still there. Yeah,
Okay.
the chemistry is still working.
Pardon?
The chemistry is still working.
Oh, okay. In zijn eenzaamheid of dozave geton niet noodzakelijk trist alleen. In his loneliness, Zave did not do it only just to cheer her up. He did it for himself too. Here you have a remez, a hint as to what is happening there. He's trying to cheer her up, and meanwhile the whole thing is happening. Haneles unbeholfenkeit und bei ihm in Rechten mit dem Herzklemmen ist ausgerufener wilden Bagger. Now, Haneles helplessness in the middle of this, while she has all this heartache, it brought on in him a wild passion. Und ihre Tränen haben auf ihm gewirkt wie ein Liebegetränk. And her tears worked on him like a love potion.
Can I just ask, in rechten mitten, in
rechten, it's like, you know what, this the way I see it, right in the middle, in rechten mitten, exactly during,
mixed in with, involved.
Yeah.
I found Hartsklemmenis to be annoyance.
Annoyance? A Hartsklemmenis is not a hard Veda. Okay.
I found that in the dictionary. Hartsklemmenis meaning annoyance.
And according to my mama, okay, according to my mama dictionary, according what I remember from my mama, clemmenish is pain, suffering.
Okay.
But it would make sense that it caused in him, the wonderful Java, in connection with his annoyance. Do you think was he feeling pain? I think more likely he did feel annoyance. He was annoyed with her. Why is she going on like this?
That's right. Yeah.
I think annoyance, I didn't look it up.
Okay, I accept. That's it. Yeah, I accept. Yeah.
It makes more sense.
Yeah, okay.
But in addition to the annoyance, there's this wilden Bagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is this passion. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Wild passion.
Yeah. And her tears affected him like a love potion.
Yeah.
It turned him on. That's all.
Yeah.
Al pi rov no chaza bazuch. In Zaves Heus pflegt sich Hanele zurück herausgehen, wenn durchhin der Tirl in Häuf. Most of the time, after such a visit in Zaves house, Hanele would sneak out through a back door in the yard Der Kopf herabgelosen, die Kinder schäugen verwundert und in Hand und unter der warmen Fatschele seinen Gewinn verklemmt etliche papierene Rubels. Here he is. He gave her money each time she goes. She runs out. She sneaks out, and in her hand, under the warm scarf, there were pressed a few paper rubles. Von die dosige Rubles hat viele die Mame kunnen nicht getot wissen. Even the aunt Kune wasn't allowed to know about this money that he was giving her. And that was her life, visiting Zave now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
So it's right. What you said before.
what did I say before?
You said a lot of things.
We all say a lot of things.
Relationship.
What did you refer to?
No, I was
What of
referring-
what I said?
No. What you said, which was before, that it grows, that, when I said, well, this is supposed to comfort her, it's not supposed to just comfort her.
Yeah. You asked, is this supposed to? So I told, yeah, that's right. That's what I said. I wanted you to wait another few lines and see. Yeah, this is well, she's coming for that.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is now this is, also she has nobody to talk to and she has nobody to comfort her. So this is a very strange situation.
Well, also in what's
yeah.
happening with her son, the idea of the isolation and the humiliation, the isolation, that's going on with him is mirrored in what's happening with the mother.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like they are both suffering, they're both lonely, and nobody really helps them.
No.
Nobody. Okay. This is, yeah, and it's not gonna get better.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So Yankev, you want to continue? What?
Please read some more. It's wonderful.
Oh, I should read more. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We all read. We'll read more. Später ist war Terz euch geworden zu schwach und hat wenig was gewirkt. Here, again, he's alluding to what's happening between Zava and Hanale. Später ist war Terz. Later on, such a warm excuse became too weak and did not have any effect, or had less effect on Hanele. And the word teretz was very, above it, that the erste Zeit is der beste Teretz gewesen. This was the best excuse before, the best explanation for her. He didn't explain, he just touched her. But now, but later on, this one, the erste Zeit, that was in the beginning. Now, später, later on, is war Teretz euch geworden zu schwach. That the encounter in Zava's house already lost its effect. Später seinen Haneles Scheiles geworden Kleppiker und Nudner. Now, later on, her questions became Kleppiker is more sticky. Yeah, and annoying. And this is heartbreaking. Verwas lemoshel, megen alle Weiber schreien, bis sie gehen zu Kind. Und sie, Chanele, bis sie ist gelegen geworden in Dorf, und das euch nicht getorten. Why, for instance, are all women allowed to scream when they give birth? And she, Hanele, when she was lying there giving birth in the country, she wasn't even allowed to do that. She wasn't allowed to scream. Now the screaming it continues with playing with it. In der Poyasche Heiske, wo sie hat sich geweigert auf Streu, hat sich herumgedreht etwas an miese alte Goye, an emesse Machaschefe, und als gesicket dafür, sie soll sein still. In that farmer's house, where she was lying around on straw.
Straw.
Straw, yeah. When something happens in my brain, when I try to translate from Yiddish to English, the Hebrew word jumps. The Hebrew word for jumps into my head quicker than the English will. Okay. Yeah. She was lying around on straw, hat sich herumgedreht, there was walking around an old Gentile woman who's ugly, a real witch.
Yeah.
Und als gesicket dafür, sie soll sein still. And she was hissing her, she should be quiet. She did not allow her to scream while she was giving birth. This is an important sentence. Die nicht ausgeschriene Keules sticken sie noch in Hals bis heutigen Tag. These suppressed sounds from giving birth, they're stuck in her throat to this day. She still wants to scream. They haven't been expressed. Her pain hasn't been expressed yet through her voice. She wasn't allowed to do that, and that screaming is still stuck in her throat. Therefore, zerklagt sie sich, wie nur sie hebt zu reden ein Wort. Therefore, she complains the minute she starts to say one word. This is not her guilt. She is not guilty. She is not guilty. Sie kann sich nicht einhalten. She cannot control herself. Sie beißt sich die Zunge und chlippet von deswegen. So she now again Hebrew comes to my mind.
She bites her tongue.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. She bites her tongue and cries,
Nevertheless, and sobs.
sobs. Yeah.
Yeah. I found this word seklokt a little higher, 2 or 3 lines higher up,
Yeah.
that she burst into tears.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay. That too. Yeah. Okay. Wein, der läuft dir Save mit der bitteren Schmeichel. Adraba, wenn sich aus, he is allowing her to cry. He allows her with a bitter smile. Cry out, cry yourself out. Okay, Janke, now.
Okay.
Ja, mooi.
Glitzig finster die breite Bobbebord und is zich meyashev. So he strokes darkly his broad beaver beard, and he considers this. Ja, macht und is a Weile arum. Nur sagen meg sie ihm von deswegen. Wo le Moschel hat sie das gehört von a solche glückliche Gewinnerins, was megen ja weinen. So yes, he says, and for a while he macht
What does that mean?
in a Weile arum. He says for after a while. Nur sagen meg sie ihm von deswegen, but she can still say to him, nevertheless, wo le Moschel hat sie das gehört von einer solchen glücklichen Gewinnerin. Where, for example, why or where, for example, did she hear such happy things from happy women giving childbirth who are allowed to cry and to scream?
Right, the chutzpah of him.
Yeah.
You know, he challenges her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go.
Ja. Wo oder viele damals noch halbe Nacht, wenn sie hat das Eifele weggetragen unter der Verzähler, wie ein Peckel brudige und zerrissene Wäsche, was man schämt sich a viele abgeben waschen. So, where even then, in the middle of the night, when she carried the baby under her shawl, like a bundle of filthy and torn laundry, which one is even ashamed to give to somebody else to wash. Zwischen die beide Gannekes in Javulek hat sie damals gehört bittere Keules von einer Gewinnerin. So when she was standing there between the two porches, holding the baby, she, at that time, she heard the bitter cries of the woman in childbirth. Hand und Fisch haben sich ihr geträuselt, von deswegen ist sie gestanden an übrige Weile und gehorcht. And her hands and her feet were trembling. Nevertheless, she stood for quite a long time and she listened to the screaming of the woman in childbirth. Sie schämt sich nicht zu sagen, sie hat Mekane gewinnt. She doesn't even, she's not embarrassed to say that she was envious of her. Wenn nicht dem Dr. Schlitten, was wollte sie noch gestanden und gehofft. And if not for the doctor's sled, she would have still stood and listened longer. Nur sie hat sich erschrocken vor die ungefahrene Glücklich. But she was frightened by the sound of the approaching bells. Hat sie allein getan das Päckele. And she put down the Päckele, the package. Sie gedenkt schon allein nicht wo. She doesn't even remember where she put it down. In die Augen in die Augen ist ihr finster geworden. She felt faint at that moment. Sie ist kaum a lebendige entlaufen, and she hardly alive, she ran away. Zava is Meshaer, as geschrien hat das damals in Zavulak glicke die Waldseuches Weib. So Zava assumed that the woman who was screaming in the alleyway was Glicka, the timber merchant's wife. Ot macht Chanele, gefunden, wemmen Mekane zu sein. So he says to Chanele, you found someone to be envious of. Sie ist doch gestorben in Kimpert. Didn't she die in childbirth? Victor's Weib is das gewesen. It was Victor's wife who was screaming. Sie hat aber ausgeschrien, klippet Chanele. Ausgeschrien sich vernteuert. But she was allowed to scream, sobbed Chanele. She screamed before she died. Azay ist besser. 2 Chadoshim seien doch schon bald darüber, sind das Obhoben in Dorf und ihr Chanele glust sich noch weglegen in Bett und schreien. Schreinim sollen sich zusammenläufen. So it's better that she would have been allowed to scream. 2 months have passed since giving birth in the village, and she, Chanele, still longs to lie in the bed and scream so that the neighbors should come running. Und gehe gefin a Refuah zu a selche weiberische Spasmus und zu a selche moderne Welchzen. And so go and find a remedy for this kind of feminine spasm. and this kind of strange desire. This is what Zave is thinking to himself, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you know, what I see here, tell me if you can see too, when she says, Azo is besser. Ois geschehen sich fahren deut. Azo is besser. This is a death wish. She wishes she were dead. She is lost. She is, you know, Azo is besser. He told her, why be envious of her? She died. So she's okay. Yes, she's dead, but she was allowed to scream. I would have rather been able to scream and die. What she's saying, really, I'd rather be dead. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Azoy is besser. She
Yeah.
says
Yeah, Azoy is
Yeah.
besser.
Azoy-
Yeah.
it. Okay. Kenaches hat Java euch nicht gehad von ein Leimerjung, von Leibitschken, heißt das. Chaneles gewesene Chossen. And no pleasure did Java have from the what would you call the line worker? What is the word for that?
The plasterer.
The plasterer from
The
Leibishke.
plasterer.
The plasterer from Leibishke, the Hanel's former chassid. Now, why would you think that? Why was Java going to have nachas from him? Why?
Nachas, but not nachas. He didn't have any pleasure from him. That means
Pleasure from him.
he didn't have pleasure that he was bothering him.
Okay.
It's another way to say nachas is nachas from kinder, but also you can have nachas from going to the movies.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Pleasure.
Yeah, right.
Vergalerei Meiler is durchgegangen, Leibishkes Chutzpah, bis is der Gangen zu Javis Eulen. And all different mouths is Leibishke's Chutzpah, his
Chutzpah.
his chutzpah. His chutzpah traveled until it arrived at Java's ears. Okay.
Zave. Okay.
Ein Nummeltum, denn es ist warmer geworden, und mir hat aufgehört zu heizen, hat mein Leibitschkin bestellt, soll kommen verrichten die Haruba beim Torkes Schachen von Akegenibel, by Uri der Kasokin. So recently, when it became a little bit warmer and you didn't have to heat anymore, they called Leibishke to come and repair the furnace from the Tucker's neighbor from opposite him. From Uri, the Kasokin. I have no idea what a Kasokin is.
Yeah, Kasoker. That's
Kasoker.
yeah.
It's a
Kasoken is some with
Squint.
what is it?
Someone who squint.
A squinter?
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, because in Hebrew, when you said kasoker, you meant somebody that is wearing glasses.
No, and someone or someone whose eyes don't. There's something wrong with the direction. The direction.
Don't focus.
Cross-eyed.
Cross-eyed. That's the
Cross-eyed.
Yeah.
The cross-eyed one.
Is
Von
it?
Leibishke, wie sein Steger ist die letzte Zeit genommen aufschleppen von Tag zu Tag. So the Leibishke, as was his style in the recent days, he started putting off from day to day. Das tut ihm der Kopf weh. Here, the head is hurting him. Das ist vernommen. At this point, he's also taken already a yachsan, a privileged person with a lot of yichus. No, as men hat schon gehalten bei nehmen an Andelleimen. Only when it came to the point where they said they were going to take a different plasterer, hat sich Leibitschke abgerissen wie von a Flieh. Only when they told him that they were going to take somebody else, Leibitschke ripped himself up from a Flieh.
Yeah,
Like-
as if he were a hanging tree.
From a tree.
Clear, yeah, as if he was getting himself off of a hanging tree. So, but it was
He came to work finally. He finally shows up to work.
yeah. Well, all in all, he's very depressed. He cannot go to work. Pardon? He's depressed. He doesn't. Yeah, he says he has a headache. He doesn't want to go to work. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to do anything.
He's depressed.
Someplace.
He's depressed. Yeah.
Yeah. Ranischke ist gekommen zu laufen mit sein Sackfartuch und mit sein Handschuhskin Hamel und genommen brechen die gespaltene Kachliches mit Rogse und mit verschimmelte Zähne. He came running with his apron, his sack apron, and with his, I guess it's with his hammer, and he starts to break the tiles. He starts to break the tiles with anger and with clenched teeth. Onkas macht zu ihm Vetter Uri. Without anger, says to him Vetter Uri. And now I know he's the cross-eyed one. Es
Yeah.
ist nicht pleasure. It is not, and this I know from the footnote below, it was not, you're not breaking down this Turkish wall here. All you're doing,
I don't know. I found this is a military service.
yeah, that's, you're not, all you're doing is taking down some tiles. Don't get too excited. No Leibitschke gehalten in ein Haken und Setzen. But Leibitschke just continued hitting and striking. Macht de Eselspunnen, weiß besser, wie man macht, zurecht herüber. Macht he thinks to himself, this
That's
Esels,
okay. The
his face is impudent. He knows better than anybody how to correct a furnace.
Okay.
Mehr hier kein Wort nicht gerät. More than that, he didn't say one word. I think we have to stop here.
okay, yeah.
And this is
Yeah, it's like he ran.
Remember
Yeah,
how he behaved when he was in Zava's house and that first time singing and the way he is today. A broken man.
yeah, and but when he saw that there was competition coming, he ran like from a clear. He ran like someone would run away from the hanging tree. That means he ran very fast.